Today is Friday, October the 28th, 2023, and welcome to episode 67 of Rural Reliance with the Canny Couple. I'm Julia.
And I'm Aaron.
We're a small homestead family in rural Southwest Virginia that work every single day on being more self-sufficient, more self-reliant, and less dependent on outside sources. This is in terms of our food, our electricity, our water, and our finances.
And bringing that up, you know what time it is? It's the end of the month, so it is time for our October edition of Frugal Homestead Tactics.
And this segment series of our podcast is where we kind of talk about our successes and failures in the past month on our journey to be frugal homesteaders.
Yeah, and to tell you what has worked, what hasn't worked, what life has got in the way to prevent some things, and how we're adjusting.
Yeah, and changes we plan to make in the future. Our goal has always been to merge frugality with every aspect of our life, and we've really been hyper-focused with the homestead and just life in general, because our goal is to pay off our debt by the end of the year, and we are on track for that.
Yes, we look at it pretty much on a weekly basis.
If not more.
Yeah.
I'm a bit obsessed. But it's a good obsession I have right now. It's a good obsession. I will say that with the way the economy is going, Aaron saw a few statistics this week, heard a few things, that it is even more crucial, in our opinion, to get out of debt as fast as possible. We're not financial advisors, but getting out of debt is a sense of freedom, unlike anything you've ever felt before. Not having any debt, not having that over your head,
and being able to take that extra money and either save up for some big purchase and, or just save it for cash.
Save it for your retirement goals, whatever goals you have for the future, to build a really good 6-month nest egg, whatever you need. That's the goal.
Yeah.
So what interesting things have you heard?
So today on the way home, I heard about how Fidelity did some kind of survey, and it had went up 5% since this time last year of the amount of people that's having to dip into their retirement to just make ends meet on a day-to-day basis.
Did they specify the types of accounts those were, like 401ks, or did they just say retirement?
It just said retirement. Okay. It was a quick Fox Business alert or something.
I'd be interested to see the statistics on this, because I would want to know, okay, are they of an age where they have to take assets? Because it's something you have to consider. Again, we're not financial advisors. And are they coming out of like straight IRA retirement accounts or 401ks? I'm very interested to see those statistics.
Yes. But that's a scary thought.
It is, that more people have to take out more money.
Right. Just to do that. And then, let's see, what was the other one? They said mortgage rates right now are close to right now at 9%, which is the highest it's been in 15 years.
Which is crazy.
And they said right now, too, that the medium payment, if somebody went into one right now, would be $3,500.
How much is that for a year? Aaron's doing the math.
Hold on.
I'm curious about that number, too. So if we did 3,500...
Oh, no, I divided.
That's a low monthly payment.
$42,000 a year right there, just.
And they say like the median income for most households, didn't we hear that the other day, was $75,000?
Something like that.
Something
now,
like that.
Yeah.
So that's over half your income.
Yeah. They said right now it's cheaper to rent than it is to for a house payment, but at the same time,
rent keeps going up.
Rent keeps going up. We talked about that here a couple months back about how much it was, rent is now, and it's
you have
crazy.
To think about rent in this aspect too. A lot of younger people are getting into buying properties as rental properties, and they're going into debt to buy these, so their prices are going up. They're going to offset that onto the consumer, the person who's renting. So they still need to make a profit. They're not going to let you live there break even. That defeats the purpose. So you have to think about that. It's a lot of you hear people that are Gen Z.
That's the latest one got out of college. Yeah.
Yeah, Gen Z, and some millennials talk about having passive income, and real estate seems to be a really hot topic. I know it's all over social media.
Yes, I see that so much. But another interesting one that reminded me of I saw this week. Sorry, it's statistics and stats like this I really like. But it said most millennials and Gen Zers now, it was like 55 to 60% range, is either relying on other family members to pay that down payment for the house or an inheritance.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like you're waiting for somebody to die to be able to pay for your house.
Yes.
That's scary. Like there's a real concern, and that's why we feel like providing inspiration and ideas for you is so important, because we're doing it. We are doing it. We are getting out of debt. We are not going back into debt. We will fight our darndest and sell everything we have before we go back into debt.
On eBay.
Or Facebook Marketplace, put it on the sides. Like, that's just what it is. We will be with nothing but a skillet and 2 chairs in the dining room. Whatever it takes to stay out of debt. So we have really done really well this past month to stay on budget. We haven't really spent outside of our budget too much. We've had a few small things happen that have impacted it, but for the most part, we've really stayed on top of it. We've really been monitoring and figuring out our numbers and everything. One of the things Aaron really has been doing a lot is maximizing coupons.
Yes. Staying on top of all of the couponing apps and
the receipts
and we finally cashed out on Ibotta.
We actually bought, there was a really good deal at one of our local grocery stores. This grocery store is known to be more expensive of the 2 we have within, 30 minutes.
But the sales are always, when
better.
They have a sale, it's better.
It's so much better. So we got 3 pizzas for $10. I hope to eventually be making my own, but right now I need easy. I need pull out of the freezer, stick in the oven.
So then at the same time, I found on Ibotta a coupon for
$1.50 off of each.
Yeah, it was $1.50 off each, and it was stackable to 5 times on Ibotta, which is unusual there because you usually don't get stackable coupons on those. You usually just get a one-off type of one, but it had it on there as well.
So it brought our total down to $1.84, and these were a name brand pizza.
Yep.
So that was really good savings.
And I guess you don't even know. There was another one. I got. Where we got cereal.
Oh yes.
I got $2 off on it through Ibotta as well.
And then didn't you have another coupon that took $1 off of each box? So that made those really big boxes of cereal $1 a piece.
Yeah.
So whatever you have to do to make ends meet. So we don't typically buy name brands, but when we can stack a deal or it's a better deal than the off brand, we will typically go with the name brand. We always go for the better deal unless the taste is totally off-putting. And there are a few small things where it's like, I don't like this. I can't eat this one. We will always try to stick with the best priced item.
Right.
Or like I'm a bit of a flower snob. I like certain flowers and I don't like others for most things. But for the most part, if it's a really good deal, I can still use it for most general baking. We've really been focusing on eating from our working pantry and all the other food that we have. We've really been focused on building our food for the week off of what we already have. So from breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we've been getting kind of creative, doing baked potato and chili for lunch. Just a few different things, trying to change it up and eat potatoes that we have because I'm not going to have time to process them right now. It is what it is. I'm not going to get them all done. Got a lot of them done, but not all of them. Getting squash. Been eating a
Yeah,
lot of
we've been
squash.
eating squash, making a lot of desserts out of squash even.
Well, even some different things. I actually did make the squash cakes. They were really good.
They were.
They
They
were
were.
very different, but they turned out really nice. It was actually quite good. I'll be making those again and trying to work on that recipe, make it even better. But trying to be creative, think outside the box, not just stick to my one note pumpkin pie. I've been making cheesecake, pumpkin
That was good.
bars. I've been making chocolate chip pumpkin muffins, chocolate chip pumpkin bread, which I found one that's really good recipe, worked out really well for us. And just making sure we're using all that to our fullest because we have so much squash right now. So we're really trying to use all that. And
Hey,
we also harvested some other things because we are getting ready to have frost.
yeah, we've had a couple of nights where they were giving a chance. It was like around 35 to 38 range that, you could have a little frost. So we were, preparing for that, pulling a lot of our peppers at that time. But it looks like we're going to have another 4 or 5 days before we have a deep freeze.
Yeah.
So we will have to pull all of our
Peppers.
remaining peppers at that point.
But we've gotten our sweet potatoes, our beets, and we also had some carrots out there that we pulled. So we've pulled all of those. And we'll actually be showing you the sweet potato harvest here. It wasn't a huge harvest, but it was better than any harvest we've ever had. The potatoes look amazing.
And these were the best shaped ones we've had before, too. Just
really
like you would
nice
see at a grocery store.
and big. Some of them are like, there's one, it's like.
Yeah. And I can't remember the name of this variety, but it's the one that Danny and Wanda off Deep South always talk about.
That really pretty.
Yes. And we found a...
Local-ish.
So what they do, so there's a place like 30 minutes away from us. They take orders. So they're like, where you place your orders, but then it comes from about a place about 2 hours from us is where they actually get the stuff. So I mean that's about as close as we could hope to get something,
to ever get,
because it's going to be in our same zone.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah,
close enough that and we looked at where it came from. It is close enough to us that it made sense for us to get it. We're really going to be trying to maximize that next year and get on point with it, because there were some areas that produced, you pulled it up, you had 5 or 6 decent sized potatoes on it. Then there were other areas that didn't produce anything. So I'm really going to be focusing on maximizing our sweet potato production, because we love sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
It's one of our absolute favorites.
So I mean, all that food that we're talking about here is stuff we did not have to buy.
Yes. Oh, we try not to buy sweet potatoes. We have in the past. We'll go get them from our local farm stand. It tends to be a little cheaper. You could get them after Thanksgiving. If you're going to go buy sweet potatoes at the grocery store after Thanksgiving, they're going to go on a deep clearance like that next week. Go get a bunch.
It's usually like 20, 30 some cents.
20 or 30 some cents a pound. And it doesn't take much to add up, especially if you're getting really good sized ones. But you can save some money. You can freeze them, blanch them, freeze them, do whatever you're going to do with them, however you eat them. It's just a really, really good time to get them is after Thanksgiving. But we try not to, and this year I'm actually going to be canning some. I'm going to try my hand at canning some sweet potatoes. I got the canner out, and I've got some quart jars that are empty, so let's fill them up. But we have been super focused, and I feel like it's really helped our grocery budget quite a bit.
It has. I mean, we are keeping... I mean, for the month, I mean, we're probably averaging $200 a month is what I would say for the past few months, because, I mean, it might not even be exactly at 200 because most of the trips are under $50 a week. We're
really focusing on stockpile items, things like that. I know this week I'm going to be getting some beans. The dry beans are back on sale. For a pound for 88 cents, which is a really good price. I'm going to have Aaron get 12 bags of those if they have the types we like to eat. And but I tell them to make sure to watch the ounces. That's important. You have to watch the ounces. You have to make sure it's a pound. And we also have to make sure it's something that we eat. I don't want pinto beans because I don't eat them. I don't like them. But we're really focusing on getting those sales to keep our working pantry built up, and not, making our meals off what we're buying. Like sometimes we'll catch something that's a really good deal, like frozen raviolis. I'll build my meal for the week off of those. But that's very few and far between.
Very rare anymore. It used to be more common.
It did. But
back in the day.
Well, now we've got the pantry
Yeah.
where I can see it. I've been using it. I've been using it every day. Like I use the spices a couple times a week. We use all of the things, like every meal I'm pulling things out that I would not have pulled out before because it was so hard to get to anything the way we were set up. And I'm really proud of how well I'm working with our pantry and the food we have. I'm trying to make sure our lunches are, based off of like the potatoes, because potatoes are filling. Maybe we have a potato soup. It's what we had this week. We had a baked potato soup. It's a good filling lunch. And I'm controlling the ingredients. These are potatoes we grew. We're not buying them. So while I have them and I need to use them, I'm really going to focus on building good meals off of them, which is what we've done. It's really helped the budget too.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things Aaron did this month to help us out was...
Took a side hustle job.
He did.
So one of the side hustles that I've done in the past, used to do quite often, haven't done so much recently just because it's a very time-consuming side hustle.
It is.
And that is wedding photography. So, it takes up your one whole day plus all the time to edit and everything like that. So it was local and, a 15-minute drive from the house. So that really helped. And it was a very nice older couple that it was... one that you were like, okay, yeah, this, you're not going to have any, bridezillas here.
Sweet little couple.
Yeah.
Those are the best ones. But it brought extra cash flow into the house. We might not be using this to pay off our debt, but we are using it to invest in our businesses and to really help. So it's helping cover the cost of some things we knew we needed to invest in.
Mm-hmm.
We're not having to take out of pocket and hurt our budget and hurt our ability to pay off our debt, which is, it did take time, and that was time away, from us. And even when he was here the next day, he was working the entire day on that job. But it was something we talked about and we decided was what needed to be done. So before, I would have went with him.
Yeah, and she would have been my second shooter or video shooter in the past. But
Now I'm just the second set of eyes and the babysitter.
Yeah, hey, I've looked at these photos enough now. Can you tell me if any more are blurry?
And it works out really well for us. This is my way to help support him while he's supporting our family in another way. Our electric consumption has been down.
And, it's that time of year. We're in between, mostly from summer to winter. So you're going to have, less air or less heat running. We didn't run any air this month. But we did have to turn the heat on last week.
Yeah, it was last week. If it would have been just me and Aaron, we would have left it.
We would have held out to November 1st. At least. Right. But like this week, for example, it's mid-70s again.
It's not ran.
It hasn't ran. But last week we were in the 50s during the days and 30s at night.
Yep.
So it got down, to 60-degree range.
In the house, and that's when we decided we couldn't do that.
Right.
We were keeping the baby's room comfortable, but just in general, we couldn't have the space heater in there with her all day or all night. We just had to bite the bullet and do what needed to be done. And it's worked out okay. I mean,
and since we got used to it at that temperature to begin with, we've been able to keep it lower as well.
Yes.
So we are running it at 65 degrees right now, which is 4 degrees lower than we used to. So we used to do 69 degrees. So for it to kick on right now. That's why it hasn't kicked on at the weekend. And I've been looking at our electrical consumption, and we are, extremely low during the day, even less than a Sunday cooking day from running. So hopefully it's going to be a really low one when we get our bill at the 1st of November.
I have had to run a few more electrical appliances, but I've been trying to be very careful about that. Like if I run the oven, I have that oven full. So if I'm doing bread, I'm doing a whole bunch of other stuff, and it only runs for a little bit. If I'm running our roaster, it's full. It is full, and that thing only needs to run for like an hour and a half at most. At most. We're really careful. Most of our baking is done with our Ninja convection oven. That thing is amazing. I can't stress how much I love using this thing. It's worked out so perfect for us. And when I do need to do most baking, I mean, it's just, we've been really careful. I use the Instapot a lot. That helps because it cooks potatoes. I know a lot of people, you don't see that a lot.
You don't.
You do not. But man, it cooks potatoes.
They're very good.
They're amazing. Like, it's amazing how well it cooks them. And that's how I make, depending on what I'm doing, I might cook it a little bit more. If I want it to turn to soup, I'll cook it a little bit less, and it cooks them perfect. Put a little butter, a little bit of water, some Redmond's, and they're just like perfect buttered potatoes to put with chili. It's worked out really well. And it takes
been really good.
4 minutes compared to the 30 to 40 minutes on my stove because it takes forever to heat up a big pot. Yeah. It's just so much more efficient because it's so much faster. So we've really been focused on that. We've also started getting the house winterized.
We have. So
you've heard us talk about curtains.
Yes. So, we do have 2 layers of curtains.
Almost at the big windows.
On most of the big windows. And I tell you talking about not letting any light in. I mean, like it's pitch dark in those rooms right now. But besides that, we had a couple of windows where we weren't putting up any curtains or anything, that we've put little tiny hooks into to hang like a blanket from, to keep, cold air from coming in, even though there's probably not going to be as much with those windows, because as you've heard us say before, when it was 0 degrees outside, we could touch it and couldn't feel any cold.
Our office has room darkening pool blinds on them, so those kind of help keep the cool air out. We keep those down for the most part. We are also going to be covering the doors here soon to make sure there's no drafts from there or anything like that. We have a lot of different things that are in the move, but we are winterizing. The only thing we have not done yet, and we thought we were going to this weekend, but it got warm on us,
is run the new wood stove, testing it out before we actually need it. But when it's going to be 80 degrees, I don't think we're going to run it this weekend.
We're not running it this weekend. It's going to be too warm.
Yeah.
But we're going to be ready to run it. Yeah. We got several things we need to have at hand installed. We need to have the fire extinguishers ready.
Yeah, just
all
in case.
The little
we
stuff.
We do carry it. So no, that is something from a prepping standpoint. We do have some fire extinguishers positioned around
strategically
the house.
Around the house. And this is because if something were to happen, it takes 20 to 30 minutes for them to get to us. Yeah. And that's like if they're going fast. Yeah. And your house can burn down in that amount of time if you're not careful. So we don't have like just one. We have several. And we have 2 or 3 upstairs and 2 or 3 downstairs. Like we have like 6. We made the big investment, but it was worth every penny. We also invested in a blanket. That's more for kitchen use. If the stove were to catch on fire and it's a big fire, I could just throw that blanket on top and...
Right. Stuff like that's great to have on hand.
Always. Cause especially if you're rural. If you're rural and you're not in a city where there's a fire station right down... You don't know. Yeah. Like, I lived with my gram. The fire station was really right down the road. Like, literally right down the road. You're not going to have that much of a problem getting them to you. Here, it's
Yeah, and you got to think about it too. The area you live in, like our closest one is all volunteer.
Yes.
So there's no paid people at this one. So if there's none around at that time, how long it takes them to get there to begin with?
Absolutely. This month, we've also focused on getting a lot of our last minute house items done. So we are very behind on this. We wanted to be so much further, but work has killed us between work and just trying to maintain our homestead right now because we are pushing so hard to get the house loan paid off. That's been our primary focus is work, and then try to shove everything through. But we've gone through the majority of the stuff we needed to, and we are using a lot of that to help save us some money.
Yeah, finding some of that stuff that you stored away that you're like, gosh, I wish I had this a couple months ago. I went and had to buy something else or something,
The craft.
So, that's a good one, the craft. Where as soon as we get a pot of coffee done, we will put it in that to keep it warm instead of having
the coffee pot on for 2 hours.
Right. And it saves money because it's not using energy.
Yep. So we found that. We knew we had it somewhere. We just couldn't find it.
It took both of us down there searching through things.
Aaron would have never have looked there. He didn't never have looked in this place.
I would never thought we'd put it in that box.
But we did. We found it. We knew we were missing a few small items. Like, I know we did not throw this away. Yeah. I know I didn't throw this crap. We had just bought it. But we found it, and now we're going to be using it. Because before, we kind of focused on, like, just enough coffee for... During the house remodel, we only made enough coffee for both of us to have a cup. Well, we're
back up to a couple of cups in the morning apiece now is what she's trying to say.
His are big cups. He has really big cups. Mine tend to be the smaller of the two. His are much bigger.
It's sort of like, when I go get sometimes, a cup at like 2 or 3 o'clock, and they're like, hey, you're not going to sleep tonight. I'm like, huh?
I'm going to fall asleep on the drive home. But yeah, we found those things, and those are going to help us save money. So really, really feel good about that. And it's also helped, keep us focused. And we've been kind of working through things that we have in the house, trying to get everything set up. So we've been staying home and working on those projects.
So we haven't been making any extravagant trips out, anything like that. Been busy enough with everything that we need to get done.
We did have a big Homestead Frugal fail.
Which is that?
The wood.
We had to buy some firewood, which is like, you're like, a homesteader had to buy firewood. Yes.
We have trees that are ready, that they will be cut. We just haven't
had time to get to them to cut. We do have some wood that my dad picked up for free next to his apartment, like red oak. Yeah. Like they said, you want it? He's like, yeah. And we're, didn't even have to pay for that. But it wasn't going to be enough to do us in the winter. We might have had enough stored in our wood storage downstairs, but it would have been, we would have been close.
We've been close. We've been tight.
So we did get a trailer load full.
We knew we had to. We knew we had to, and we wanted to get it now before his prices went up for winter, which we knew was going to happen. So if you do have to buy wood, and a lot of people do, a lot of people can't source it, and next year we will be better prepared because we already know, we're already making plans for this to be better prepared. This year, time has really gotten away from us, and it happens on your homestead. It does, and I know there's a lot of people out there who say, well, I have the time. Yep, we did not. Both of us work full-time, 40 plus, probably closer to 45 plus hours a week.
Yeah.
And we're also parents, and we have stressed how important family is to us. And if it's Aaron's going out there to cut wood or play with the baby because it's going to be dark, for the 30 minutes he gets to play with the baby, he's going to take the 30 minutes.
Yep.
It's just, that's what's important to us right now. So it was a fail, but we know it. We understand it. We planned for it, and our budget was able to take that hit and us still put extra money towards the loan.
Right. Yeah, and we did have a referral rebate that sort of covered most of this as well. So it was only $25.
Yeah.
If you think about it that way.
I will say, like, one of the best things we have been doing is we've been super hyper focused on the budget these past few months, and this month especially. We knew.
We're getting closer to that time frame we're looking at from the perspective of, will we gain more interest with some money in the bank, or will we not pay as much interest, on the payment? Like, we've been doing that type of calculation to see what, is.
What we need
Yeah.
to do, what changes we need to make, what moves we need to make, and how we can get this paid off as quickly as possible, as efficiently and as effectively. We're also looking at that. So we use an amazing loan spreadsheet, like a loan payoff spreadsheet that calculates the interest, and you can plug in numbers to say, okay, well, what if I pay this much extra or this much extra? It's going to show you how much extra you're going to pay by changing those numbers. I'm going to tell you, it's one of the best. It's been so helpful to us, and it's really been amazing to keep us on track.
Yeah, it's great to, just play with numbers every now and then.
And we're playing with them once a week, at minimum once a week. We look at that. We know how much we have. We're looking at everything so closely. We're moving that needle to get to our future goals, and which we'll be telling you about soon. They're coming. End of the year, we're so much closer.
Yeah.
And the freedom that's going to come from us being debt free. And a lot of people, like, well, you're so fortunate to be able to, do this. We understand. Like, it's hard for a lot of people right now, especially if it's like one parent working or you're a single person working to provide for your family and everything else. We both work, and we don't do fun stuff. We don't go. All we do is pay for our necessities for the majority of the part, and then everything else goes towards debt. Yeah. Over 60% of our take-home income is going towards our debt. Over 60%.
Yeah,
So
I would say 60 might even be a little low.
I would say it's probably closer to 70.
Yeah.
And that is because we decided that, okay, we're not going on vacations. We're not going to go out to dinner a lot. We're not going to do all of these things a lot of other people might spend their time and money on, and rack up credits. We're really hyper focused on getting that debt paid off and focusing on what we have.
Yep.
And building our homestead slow so we can get that debt paid off, because once that debt is gone, then we can put so much more energy, effort, and focus into the homestead and building it slow, the right way, and debt-free.
Exactly.
That's always the goal here. So our focus for next month, we got a lot of things happening, actually.
Yeah, in November, we've got to be on the lookout for the seed sales. Yes. So we've talked.
This is Aaron.
And I need to sit down and get my list together of what all we exactly need. But, I haven't got a single seed book yet.
We haven't.
So, seed suppliers, where are my seed books? But
we got a jung. We have a jung up there.
Yeah, but it came in the summer. It was more of a flower one, yeah. That's something I haven't seen, but we got to be on the lookout for that to get those sales on the seeds. Christmas shopping, holiday shopping, shopping those Black Friday sales, Cyber Monday, whatever you want to say.
It's all the same anymore.
Yeah.
It is. It's all the same anymore. It's not any different. You can get the same deals online as you can going into the store for the most part, if you know how to hit it. I'll tell you, Kohl's typically does amazing sales. Plus, you're going to get $10 back on every $50 you spend. And they will let you stack that, and you can use that to buy other things that you need. $50 is like, I've used this to get I used the Black Friday sales to get my KitchenAid mixer for under $300. I've used it to get vacuum cleaners, because they will put really good vacuum cleaners new on sale that day. I think I paid $100. Yeah. For a Shark brand new. A lot of people are paying more than that for refurbished. these are where you really have to go and do and look your research, because I will scan those ads over and over and over again, looking for the deals that would help our family. And I'm diligent. I am a woman on a hunt, knowing what we need. But this year we're also focusing on making sure we're not buying things we don't need, like socks.
So we got everything out of storage.
Well, and we actually have a place to put it now.
Right. So we had like an extra, what do you call those big bags? What would you call those?
Like under the bed storage bags, the
Yeah.
big long flat ones.
Yeah, you don't realize how many socks are in those things until you actually get it out. And then it was like, I just filled 2 dresser drawers full of long socks. You know, I was like, I don't need socks for like 5 years now.
He probably will. He runs through them pretty quickly.
Not since
I got you your house
got
shoes.
me these house shoes.
I got him the really. This was an investment. Like, you can get the cheaper
This was
slides.
for my birthday now.
It was for his birthday. But I went ahead and got him the better pair because he's home. He walks around the house. And I thought, okay, let's just go ahead and get the good pair that's going to feel really good on your feet, feel good on your back. And he has been able to tell a difference. Like, he can't even...
I haven't went through I'm not going through 2 pair of socks in a week.
It was a sock a day.
It was a sock. It felt like a sock a day there for a while, with the hardwood floors.
So, for me, I have a lot of focuses this month. I've got a lot of focus. It's really heavy for me right now. It's not just shopping sales for our household, for family and things like that, which Erin and I do together. I also have to really watch for food deals. This is a big thing for us because a lot of things will start to go on sale. So this is where I kind of extend my branches. My tree grows a little bit bigger, and we will actually go to a few other stores that we don't typically go to because they are further away for us. Quite some of them are quite a bit. But I will start looking for powdered sugars, graham cracker crumbs, chocolate chips, things that I need to have in my pantry on hand, and I like to buy in bulk. They'll go onto a deeper sale right now. I have noticed those sales have started. This is one of the earliest times of the year I've seen them. They have started. They're not as deeply discounted as you're going to get later. Some of them are. Chocolate chips for us under $2 a bag is an amazing price. You typically don't see that. Not for a name brand. Name brand, I mean, it just doesn't happen. So I'm getting Erin to get as many as the limit will allow, because I know for that brand at that price, for us in our area, that's a good price for me. And I'll probably get some more because their brand will go on sale for cheaper. I hope. We'll see. Chocolate bark is another thing. Only getting one right now because I'm hoping I can catch it on a deeper discount. But as the holidays are coming up, I'm looking for these deals, and it's not just for holiday cooking. It is for all year cooking.
Yeah.
It's not just for one time of the year. So I'm going to stock up as much as I can at a deeper discount compared to what I would have to pay if I bought it, say, in March or July. I'm also working on Thanksgiving. I'm going to have a couple of videos out on Thanksgiving. I'm going to show you how I shop for our Thanksgiving. But I'm also going to try to do a really discounted family Thanksgiving to kind of show you all different ideas, different ways that you can save as much money as possible and focus on giving your family a really good meal.
Yeah.
So, in doing it on a budget, all on a budget. So I'm going to use our budget as my guide. It's just really, these are really like dedicated focus sale months for me. Wouldn't you say? Like,
I would say so, especially like the coupon wise that comes out this time of year. Like Ollie's, we got a 15% off. Like you mentioned Kohl's before, they'll have something. All these type of stores, this is when they put out, the 10 to 30% coupons usually as well when you need to buy for the following year.
Yep. That's how I bought all of my clothes for work when I was going in on a regular basis. I would shop Kohl's at this time of the year. I would get replacement sweaters for $10 versus paying $20 or $30 or cheaper. I would get others. I would get all my sweaters for $10. I mean, I would go Kohl's, I'd go to JCPenney's, and that's where I would rack up huge amounts of savings. And I would also stack coupons on top of those. So if you work in a work environment, you need to get a few fresh items. Save your money. This is the time to actually spend it. You can get some really good, decent clothing for a really decent price. You really can. And I would say stick with simple and basic. That's the key here. You gotta stick with simple. There was always a lot of black in mine. Always a lot of black. You can't go wrong with black. Ever. Candy supplies is another thing I have to look for.
Yeah, because there's a few of the places, like I know...
Priceless was the one for us. Remember they did the buy three?
That is right.
And when you did the buy three, they deeply discounted it. So I'll be looking at Priceless starting now, just to make sure if they do have that deep discount. I'm waiting for that time. That's how I got my graham cracker crumbs.
Yeah.
Because typically I'm paying $3 to $5 a box for these things, and I have to have them. It's a demand.
Because that's going to be a video right there. the candy.
This candy.
Yeah, this candy will... I have to make it last for like 2 months always.
We are on a limit.
But I could eat this in like a week.
He could. The batch I'm going to make.
I might be in the hospital, but I could eat it in a week.
If I did not limit him, like you were only allowed 2 a day. And I had some because he's only allowed 2 a day. That's the rule. But
sometimes she doesn't know I get more than 2 a day.
I know. But it's just, these are the things I know are coming up. And I think that's the biggest thing here. We start planning in November for the upcoming months. It's not just like planning for November and December. No. We're planning for the next year because I eat chocolate chips all year round. It's not just a Christmas and holiday thing.
Yeah. I mean, this the fourth quarter of the year here, when a lot of sales happen, it is when we are stocking up on certain things or buying certain purchases that will do us to the next year.
If we see something that would be a good birthday gift for somebody,
yeah,
we would go ahead and pick it up.
Especially after the holiday clearances. You have those 30 to 70% off sales.
Or 90% off. We had a couple of 90% off items that we were able to get because nobody was buying the stuff. Like, I'm not typically one who buys like different wrapping paper. I bought more expensive wrapping paper because it was 90% off, and I think some of it's to be used to wrap the baby's birthday presents. It's like, well, this is kind of neutral. Let's use this. And that works out well for us. It's just start planning now. You have a little bit of time. You could put some cash away, and especially for food, this is when your canned vegetables, if you are not putting them away yourself, are going to go on sale. No, you don't buy anything else. Buy your canned vegetables, your canned broths. All these things are going to start going on sale here in the next week or two. You can have those, put them in your pantry or wherever you're stockpiling for the future. Even if you don't cook a big meal, you're like, I don't do this, I don't participate, whatever. Take advantage of the deal. It's a deal. And that's my goal, is this month to really take advantage of the deal. Now, Aaron does have something else he has to do this month.
The thing you've heard me talk about for the past 4 months is finish the solar stuff. Everything keeps taking that over.
Precedence.
And I'm hoping I might be able to get it done this Sunday, honestly, because it's supposed to be warm enough. And I need to do a few things in the morning while it's still dark, per se, to hook a few things up. And, from a frugality standpoint, too, we need to, get our sorghum seeds before next week.
We do. We're not going to be able to harvest this year. It's just...
I don't know. I might try to cut them down and bring them in the basement.
That might work.
We might try it.
Put it in a barrel.
Yeah.
There is one other thing we have to work on this month, and that is getting the gardens and the garden beds put to bed. If getting leaves on them, if nothing else, just the leaves. Hope for
Yeah.
black plastic in the actual garden. I do have one area I want to get black plastic on, and it's just going to sit for 2 years. And
Are
that,
you talking about the extra garden part down there?
yes,
Yeah.
it's just going to sit for 2 years. I'm not touching it because we're trying, like in one area, we covered it with black plastic, and that has kind of grown around it. We put weed barrier, and the grass is growing underneath the weed barrier.
Yeah.
I need to kill this land and start from scratch,
Right.
because it is uncontrollable. We cannot.
This might be where we need to think about some vinegar spray too.
We do. We really do. We need to kill. We have so many. You can't get through the area because there is a vine, a wild blackberry vine that has to go.
Yeah.
That is so invasive. Like, we have cut this thing down like 10 to 15
I
times,
know,
and
and
it
it
will
keeps coming
not
back.
come.
We need to dig it up from the root.
He needs to get his tool out, pull it out.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's so invasive, and it ripped me apart getting to the sweet potatoes. I could barely get to them. I finally had the sweet potato basket heavy enough to sit on top of it, but we're gonna kill this area. But the rest of the garden areas really need to get some leaves on them, some leaf mulch, and just really start letting them get ready for the next year.
Yeah. Any final thoughts for you from October?
I would say one of the best things we've done is we've really looked and been vigilant about our budget. That I cannot stress how I think that is the number one thing we have done. And it's the one thing I hope we continue to do, to stay on top of everything.
And I think it will be, upcoming, that we sort of have to even more. But for me, it's just focusing more on reducing the energy consumption going into November, getting that solar stuff done. I don't think it's going to take me 30 minutes, but
I don't think it's going to take up 20.
But I just need to finish it, It's one of those projects where you're like, I need to do it, type of thing.
Well, it might take 20 minutes to cut the one zip tie he had me to put on there, but I'm hoping my little zip tie scissors will work.
I know. Yeah. We'll see how this goes. Probably no videos on this one because I might be.
It might be after. He can show you how it's set up.
Yeah. Because I'm afraid some of the words I might say. But that's all I have. If you've got anything you want to see in a future.
What were your frugal, successes and failures this month? I'm so interested in hearing.
Yeah, and if there's anything you want to see from frugality standpoint, homesteading standpoint, video or podcast wise, send that over to the Canny Couple at yahoo.com. And make sure to go over and check out our link tree, which has all of our other content.
And as always, thank you for joining us on Reliance with the Canny Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy life. Have a wonderful day.